morning. Let's call this morning's meeting to order. Looking for an approval of the agenda. We do have agenda addition, request to fill a vacancy for an administrative assistant in the planning and zoning department.
Move to approve with addition.
We have a motion to approve the addition.
Second.
By Commissioner Whalen, second by Commissioner Gross. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Citizens to be heard. Any citizens wishing to speak on anything not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move into the approval of payments of bills and vouchers.
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Haney,
Second.
a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We have the minutes from July 3rd, 2018, and the only change is on mine, everyone went to the picnic, and I did as well, so if you want to just add that.
Move approval with correction.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Campbell and a second by Commissioner Haney with the change. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Our item number 2, we have the request for approval to award the bid for Sabin County Road 67. We have our engineer Dave Overbo and Eric Colby, our assistant. Good morning.
If you remember, this is the local road improvement project. The city of Sabin applied for this grant. They were awarded it. Their project selection was on County Road 67. It's on the south side of Sabin, west of our County Road 11. Yesterday, they opened bids, and we are kind of helping guide them through the project. In the eyes of the state, the county is the actual sponsor, or we're kind of the applicant, and we're working with the city on this. We were a little apprehensive to see how bids were going to turn out, and actually they turned out really good. And they had quite a few bidders, actually. So you can see on the abstract Eric passed out, they had 4 good local bidders. Engineer's estimate was $237,720, and the low bidder was about 5.8% under that at $223,832.30. So it's not a real big project. Is it about a quarter mile?
0.2 it says.
Yeah, 0.2 miles. It's going to be a grade and pave. The county worked with the city as far as acquiring a small amount of right-of-way that was actually adjacent to a Buffalo watershed ditch, and so we acquired it, and it went in the name of the watershed, and yeah, so far everything's looking like it's working out real good. It should be done this fall. Okay.
And it says that it should be awarded contingent in the city of Sabin. When is their next?
Tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right, so you're looking for contingent approval of the low bid with Northern Improvement?
Correct.
So we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Campbell.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Gross. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, our next item is a request to fill a vacancy in social services for case aid and child and family unit. Rhonda Porter, good morning.
Okay, well, we hired a case aide in our child protection unit. She's been with us just over a little 6 months, and she's moving to Colorado and going to graduate school. So we are hopeful to replace her position. She works alongside our child protection workers, so it's a critical position to help support the child protection staff. Her last day is August 24th. We did plan in the wage calculator a week or 2 overlap if we're lucky enough to get somebody on board right away. So there isn't a significant budget change just because she was so new. So we do have it budgeted. So requesting approval to replace her position.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Gross. Does that include backfill?
Yes, please.
Okay, and we had a second from Commissioner Haney. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Ron.
All right, thank you.
Our item number 4 is a request to fill a vacancy for general maintenance tech in the building maintenance department. Joe Olson. You survived the fair, huh?
Yes, yeah, we got past that.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a vacancy coming up here. Rex Lusty is retiring. His last day will be August 10th, so with that, I'm requesting to fill that vacancy. We have an annual savings of $12,420, and we'll be hiring at a general maintenance tech,
Okay.
grade 11, step 1. So.
Okay.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Whalen
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Joe. All right, our next item is Brian Berg, budget introduction, but can we do the agenda addition first? Great. Thank you.
Well,
Good morning, Brian.
Madam Chair and members of the commission. I guess it's relatively simple. We've been talking about this for a little bit now, that we knew that Lynn Spaeth was going to be leaving planning and zoning, and we'd like to get that moving as quickly as possible. So what I presented to you, she was in step 3, and with the expectation of hiring on step 1, you will see a small savings there. There's not a great deal of payout and things, so we'd like to get that moving as quickly as possible.
Okay.
She is in, the position is in grade 10, and we'll be looking at hiring in step 1. So if you want to have any discussion on the position or anything, certainly do that.
Commissioner Gross.
I have one question on payout. Why is there a payout?
Well, there's a few vacation days or something that.
She's not leaving, is she? I thought she went to another position.
Oh,
Another-
no,
another-
Madam Chair, no, she's leaving the county.
Oh, excuse me. I was under the impression she was going to another
Oh, no,
department.
no, she's leaving the county.
Very good. Thank you. Sorry.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner
Second.
Whalen and a second by Commissioner Haney. I assume if we aren't able to fill this before her end date, we'd talk about do some.
Talk about what?
Well, we talked about having some kind of temp services fill in the meantime.
Right, yeah. I haven't talked to HR about that yet, but I thought I would put that in their hands to reach out maybe to temporary service.
Right, and I think we can talk about that at the PIC meeting later, but it's just really important that we don't have a gap in
Right.
having someone there.
Yeah.
Specifically for Nancy's people as well, don't we? All right. Well, we do have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Lori, you want to come up? How are you?
Yes, are you?
Good.
I saw Joe was doing his thing. I immediately took this and came up. He was already out the door by the time I got up here.
Efficient. All right, Brian.
Well, good morning again, Madam Chair. What you have before you is kind of our second meeting reference, the budget. We met back in May to kind of get the scheduling going and things, and we maybe are a little bit behind, maybe a week on this part of it, but that's about it. We normally start out with some initial information to you. It's been a little bit different this year with the planning for the open houses or the open house and the houses, I guess, and construction projects, but we are getting going on going over the budgets and talking about scheduling. We normally start scheduling them next week for the departments to come before you, but we're going to have a short meeting next week with the ribbon cutting, so that'll be delayed 1 week, but we have talked to the department heads, and Colleen will be contacting them, reference scheduling them before the board meeting. And what you have before you is just some very preliminary information. The printout that Lori did, I think, showed that there was one new request for around the $12,000. I did not look through to see where that was coming from. I think there may be, though, one out of juvenile services, and I think that was a little more than the $12,000. So we'll look through and update the new requests on that. But there is not a lot in new requests this year, which is a good thing coming out of the chute. We did a lot of them last year, so it's looking like a fairly decent year. And then just some other relevant information. You have about 3 labor contracts for a 2% cost of living, and that is the guideline we're going to use in the budgeting process moving forward, for your information on it. This year, again, out of the chute, we're using the figure of $500,000 for the insurance increase. We don't know, of course, what that will be till later on in August sometime. Last year it was over in excess of $700,000, so we had to make an adjustment upward. The county program aid, we put in the figure that was the amount for last year, and if anything, it'll go up a hair is what I've been told. So we'll certainly update you when that comes about. The dividend from the MCIT, I'll say for the insurance company, it's not an insurance, it's we're self-insured, let's say the counties are, so it's not an insurance company. But if you'll notice down in the bottom, in 2017, the dividend was $10,332,000. In 2018, it's $11,075,000, so that is a little bit of an increase over last year. So that I don't believe is plugged into.
That I have not put into
yet.
yet.
It's just a few dollars difference. The jail construction, this will be something that you'll certainly want to discuss. Last year, you left off the $50,000, and you may want to have discussion on that this year to see what the sales tax is doing and different things. But right now, we have included last year's and then this year's, or last year's catch-up and then this year of $100,000. Out-of-home placement, you do have and we'll go through that just a little bit to show that the out-of-home placement's kind of leveled off, and last year that was an issue, and we left it in there because it's a high-ticket item that for discussion purposes, and I know Rhonda will be addressing that when she comes in. And then also last year, a new figure was $50,000 to pay off the new building out at Holly with the solid waste building and highway building that was built out there. And I guess another thing that's in the budget right now, and I thought of listing that, but I think we already added $100,000 to the capital improvement, the internal service fund for highway. So that's substantial, and that will give you something to look at as you move on down the line. So I want you to keep in mind that.
We usually just increase that $50,000 a year, but they are actually behind, so I put in 100 to start with. If we need to cut it, we can. But
Lori, does that go? Is that to replenish the internal service fund for the highway?
right, and it's based on that depreciation schedule, but they've always been behind.
Yes, yeah.
And so we've been trying to catch up a little bit every year, so, but they're still behind.
And then the rebate dollars are in the budget of $480,000, and so far you have not chose to budget that, or you utilized reserves to fill in for that rebate dollar. And the reason why I threw that in there this year, I guess I didn't know if you wanted us to take that out right away before you even see the preliminary figures on it, because it does distort by about 1.75% of the levy dollars, and if you're just gonna put it in there and take it out.
But if I can't be, but now that we've been doing this for a while, there's a year that drops off, and so that number stays fairly consistent, doesn't it?
It pretty much, depending on, sometimes there's some bigger apartment buildings that get in there.
Okay.
And without those, then it, but if one of those pop in, then it jumps a little bit.
So that's also for remodeling as well, isn't it? There's a remodel one that qualifies?
I'm not sure if the city of Moorhead renewed that. That was only the city of Moorhead. It was
Okay.
so minimal that I'm not sure if they renewed that piece of it, but they might have, but it's very small.
Okay, because there's some significant remodeling going on in Moorhead right now. but-
Okay, yeah.
So, I guess my thought was we probably wouldn't include that in the budget because you haven't so far, so.
Okay.
And
Unless
then
anyone wants to change it, we'll just keep it the same.
the other issue, of course, is scheduling, and I already mentioned that, and I talked about the MCIT dividends that are coming back. And then the next sheet in your packet there will show, Nancy does this, the assessor Nancy Gunderson, and last year it was 1.49, and this year the growth is 1.50. So we're very, very consistent on the growth, which I think is a very positive thing for Clay County. And then I always supply you with this that comes off of the state auditor's site. And the most recent information, of course, is 2016, but I'll just direct you down to the third line there that says taxes. This is per capita, and you'll see that in 2016, you spent $408 per person then, and that was up a few dollars from 2015. But your ranking went from 82 out of 87 to 83 out of 87. So there's only 5 counties in the state of Minnesota that spend more or less per capita than you do. And I know sometimes we've had, at our Truth and Taxation, we set our goal, one citizen said our goal should be to be number 87 out of 87. And I would say you're pretty darn close to that. But so you can look over that at your leisure. This information is only as good as the information that's sent into them. And I always point out the health on the second page, there says health, and it shows us for $0. We know that's not true, so I don't know where that gets lost in the shuffle, but their approximations is what I guess I kind of use as a guideline. I wouldn't go through on every one of those figures. So then if you go back to the fund balance comparisons, I don't think they're...
I can update how that could, it's a transfer out, and this is only governmental funds, not enterprise funds. And so in the general fund, the amount that we give to the public health fund is actually a transfer out and doesn't get classified in the health expenditure.
Okay. So again, the total figures are close.
This is only
Maybe not
governmental
exact.
funds, not enterprise funds.
Not enterprise, and you figure public health is enterprise funds?
Yes.
then? Okay.
So that's the same as solid waste then?
Right.
Right, and we do spend in the area of 500,000 roughly for public health, which would be general fund dollars. So the fund balance comparisons, as you see, some of them have gone up a little bit and some of them have gone down a little bit. The general fund went down a little bit last year, and that's it's still not totally balanced for 17. Am I correct on that, Lori?
It's pretty close.
You said
It's-
estimates, so.
Well, it's extremely close. There wouldn't be any big adjustments at this point.
Okay, well, as you can see, you're not talking about a big variation even in the general fund there. It's a slight drop, but not much. And highway is up slightly. It was pleasing to see social services level off and some of those fund balances come back. Building, we just budget $50,000 a year there for upkeep on the buildings and carpeting and different things. Internal Service Fund, I think we should just mention that. I know Lori said that, highway is a little bit behind on their capital replacements of dollars, but the fund balances, which is nice to see, has steadily gone up even in the Internal Service Fund. So there's a comfortable balance there, is what this shows.
True, but that's including all the assets that we buy, so that's not cash.
Well, that's not cash.
No, that's,
Yeah, and as we've grown and as we've had to buy more, then that puts a bigger emphasis on having to have a higher internal service fund balance too.
Yes.
but like I say, this isn't cash, this is including all the assets that we buy, so it's cash in hand. A motor grader.
Mhm. Any other questions?
No, I'm good.
And public health, I think we've talked about this in the past, the last 2 years, that's actually an improvement in their fund balance. But the negative is because of a assurance for the retirement fund dollars, it's not cash out of the fund. So we
Is
talked
that
about
part of
in the past.
Gadsby's deal?
Correct, that we had to start in 2016.
Yeah.
And solid waste improved a little bit, as you can see. And the Family Service Center is running about even money, and we expect that, the rent to be taken in there to cover the expenses, and it's very, very close on that. Juvenile detention improved a little bit in their cash reserve as well. So that kind of takes care of that. It's pretty stable, which I think that's the best you guys can hope for. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be building your reserves, and you don't want to spend down your reserves a great deal because, well, unless you have an excess amount, I guess that's a management decision on your part. And then the last page that's in there is the levies as they've been approved up through 2018. So, and I think what's important and what you folks talk about is stability. And you'll notice in the last, 10 years, it's a very stable levy. You're not shooting up and down. If you jump down to 1991, you had a 16% increase, in 92, 11%, and then there's some 11s in there. And that, I don't think that's what the message that you guys have sent. You want stability and a steady flow. So I think that's what you have. So any questions or comments or direction, we'll continue moving forward, scheduling and things.
Comments?
Fine.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that moves us into our item number 6, committee reports. Commissioner Campbell?
Okay, thank you. I just had one meeting last week, and that was our highway tracking meeting. And we did have quite a discussion about the remaining portion of the campus work that's going to need to be done, which is 9th Avenue and 10th Street here. The part that was not part of the original construction project plan, and how we can have our highway department do some of that work to help bring down the cost. So that's just in its planning stages. They're working together with construction engineers on that. We did talk about our procurement policy, and that's some ongoing work that's going to be done there. And then we got an update on the build application, and then we talked about the contract with Barb Brody, and that's on the, it used to be called, what they used to be called, that's called the build now, it used to be the Tiger, thank you, Jim. And so we've got the Glendon project, we're applying for that in there as well, so, and that's really all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Haney?
Last Thursday, I had the Northwest Radio Emergency Communication Board ITV meeting, but the ITV link was not functioning, so I did not have any report to give to you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gross?
And just to continue on that highway tracking that Commissioner Campbell talked about, on that build application, we're also looking for some money for Dilworth and Hawley, at 15th Avenue in Dilworth and 15th Street in Hawley, so a couple more projects that we're looking at there. Other than that, I went to a ribbon cutting at M.B. Johnson Park, North Moorhead there, that is really a nice park they put in there, that is just, well, if you're planning a gathering of any sort, there's a place to go to there. There's two big shelters and an indoor shelter, and it's really a nice place to put up there. Clay County Fair, spent several days out there handing out ice cream, and we had government days. I think we still have to work at a different day for government days. Thursday seems to be a bad day for, not a bad day, it's a good day for the fair, I mean, but it's not as many people there, I don't think, so probably it should be more of an evening event, and just wasn't much activity going on, unless there was more after I left there, at least.
I think the problem is that it's entry days, so people that are there trying to get what they need to get done, and there's not an opportunity to visit. But
Yeah. And then yesterday I went through the groundbreaking ceremony for the 21st Street underpass, which, I don't know if you've been watching the news, it's going to be about a 3-year project, $70 million project, 3 years through construction, working on that, and just a great event for Moorhead. Those are mine.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wheeler?
I just had Beyond the Yellow Ribbon meeting last week, and had some updates from the VA and from those that are working on some fundraising projects, and that was it for me.
Last week I also was just at the fair for 4 days, so I didn't have any committee reports, but I do want to thank the county departments that did show up. I think it's important for us to have a presence there. People that I had spoken to appreciates when the county comes from Moorhead to rural Clay County, so those of you that were there, I really appreciate it, so thank you.
And one why I also attended the groundbreaking with Commissioner Gross yesterday at the 21st Street project.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Attended highway tracking, nothing to add there that's not already been covered. I did spend a little time with Michael Steen, a reporter from the Barnesville Recorder.
Record review.
Record review, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, record review. And did a little updating there. Darren and Jennifer and I had met in regards to some insurance ideas and timing and things along those lines in preparation for their insurance meeting, as they have another one coming up soon. Had management team meeting last Thursday, had 10-15 minutes for training segment, and we talked about the budget issues and talked about some issues going on in the county from the different departments. Stopped over at John Farnberg's coffee. That was last Thursday as well, I guess. And Nick, last Friday morning, Nick from Construction Engineers came by and discussed several issues and just an updating thing. No concerns, I guess. And then Steve and I spent some time yesterday morning together, just going over some things. And then the other issue, I guess, that we want to touch base on is tomorrow morning you'll have interviews for the department head at the juvenile center, and we have published that it's going on, so any one of you that wants to sit on that interview board, I think that was the discussion, and Darren does have background information on them if you'd like to take that with you today, and I think some of the questions, so you can certainly grab something from him if you plan to come. If you don't, that's fine too. So that'll be in room B? Meeting room B? B. Okay, right across the hall tomorrow morning.
Did we invite any of our member counties to sit in on here?
We did, but Commissioner Campbell, Madam Chair, we didn't hear anything from anyone.
Okay, very good. Just make sure that the opportunity was there.
So I think it'll be the commissioners that want to attend, and then myself and Darren, and I think you're going to sit in as an observer, Steve, is that the idea?
If that's all right with the board, I would like
No,
to.
definitely.
Important to have your insight. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
I have one additional, there's a wellhead protection going on in Ullin and Hitterdall. Did we get that notice, or did that just come to me?
Probably just came to you since you were the commissioner of the district.
I don't know.
Would you like, I think what we've done in the past when it was Saban and or Barnesville, it was added to my committee reports, if you'd like us to do the same for you.
Yeah, I serve on the Morehead Wellhead Protection Plan, and that actually becomes part of our portfolio, so that should be included in yours if it's not.
Okay.
But I would move that that Commissioner Gross be put on the, what's it called, the Ullin?
Wellhead protection for Ullin and Hitterdall.
There you go.
There's two of them going on.
So we have a motion to add that to his portfolio,
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Wayland. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Anything else? Steve, do you have anything?
Nothing new to add, Madam Commissioner.
Okay. Jen? All right, is this our last meeting?
No, one more.
One more. All right. We are adjourned.